North American Weed Tour podcast. I'm Mitch Pfeiffer, joined with
Joey J. Ping, what's good? And we've got special guest David Garcia, co-founder of Tree Factory. What's up, my man? How are you?
Good. Thank you. How are you guys?
living. Just got little man somewhat to sleep and ready to get on the late night grind.
Nice. Let's do it.
I've been on the grind. I'm excited to have you on the show. I'm about to spark up this little gift that you sent to us the other day. I got that new Tree Factory, the Saviors Road edition, man. That OG is coming, man. This is exciting.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Big shout out to the Tree Factory fan, man. Mitch, why don't you intro David and let's give the people what they want. They want to learn about Tree Factory. They've been making moves. They've been seeing the press. They've been hearing things. Lay it on them.
Yeah, so I'll give the brief introduction, but David is a co-founder and running Tree Factory, a dispensary and delivery service in Ventura County. Got some impressive statistics. I believe between over 250 to 300,000 deliveries completed under the Tree Factory name.
Correct. Since 2015, we've done about 300,000 deliveries in Ventura County.
That's crazy. Yeah, that is definitely crazy.
On your way to $1 billion, just like McDonald's.
That's the goal.
Absolutely. And for people watching this episode, definitely learn some game about navigating the licensing aspect of cannabis. Getting started, building one business and turning it into the next, and a little bit of history from Tree Factory, man. So, without further ado, Joey's smoking the Savior's Road. Could you give us, the brief history of Tree Factory?
Sure. So Tree Factory was founded in 2015 in a garage on Savior's Road in Oxnard, California. It's located in Ventura County, Southern California region. So the way that worked out was there was definitely a need for professional delivery service in Ventura County. Essentially what you had was the back alley transactions, the shady people delivering you cannabis. So we seen an opportunity. We also started cultivating. We started with 4 lights in our garage on Savior's Road. And then shortly after, we created Tree Factory Delivery, where we started doing deliveries out of that garage in Ventura County. Oh, yeah, so in Ventura County, so it neighbors LA County, Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County at that time was way more lenient. They kind of turned the other way. That's why you've seen a lot of dispensaries in Los Angeles at that time, 2015. Ventura County, there was no dispensaries. And if any of them popped up, they would get shut down immediately. So we definitely wanted to de-risk it. So we ended up, we felt that it was safer to do a delivery service. And then also what protected us was the Prop 215 SB 420, which at that time was the collective model.
So you guys look at the market, you look at the legislation, you're like, man, how can we operate compliantly in those days, but also safe, because they are, back then they were raiding dispensaries, right? I mean, they are today still, but they're not raiding legal ones, right? They're raiding all the old ones, right?
Correct.
So can you walk me through some of that mindset? You guys are actively growing cannabis. Yes, it's compliant. You're watching your dispensary cohorts get raided, though. How do you even start building out this model for a delivery service when it hasn't even really existed before?
Just like the way the customer likes it, discreet. So we had to be discreet. We had to be discreet and professional. So our customers didn't know we were operating out of a garage on Savior's Road. If anything, they thought we were operating out of some type of tower, some type of office structure, because that's the way we represented ourselves and that's the way we trained our employees. The customer didn't really know the obstacles or the hurdles that we had to go through to make that possible. And it's not their problem, right? it's our problem to make sure that we provide a discreet, smooth transaction.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, in those days, it was obviously, a little bit less of a commercial situation, right? In terms of the grow, we're talking, not massive buildings and things like that yet. Not huge thousand, grow houses situations. What was that like for you guys? What was it like setting up that initial grow? What was it like, kind of tell me about your first crop. I mean, you guys you became farmers.
Yeah. So our first crop was interesting. So we set up the grow, right? Thank God we had an electrician that knew what he was doing. So that's for sure half the battle. And then we had our reverse osmosis system with a 50-gallon drum that didn't have a lid. So we flooded the garage a few times. You forget. So we definitely went through a learning curve.
That's so funny.
We definitely messed up a few crops, but we actually learned something. So I think the experience that we gained was worth messing things up. You have to fail in order for you to learn. And I think for me, it was worth every penny. And we ended up, we continued, we didn't stop. We continued to reinvest. And before you know it, we started fucking up less and less and less until we got it dialed in.
Now, do you remember what it was like smoking your first harvest?
Yeah. It was this undescribable feeling. If you have kids, it's like cutting the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
That's the best way to
I hear
describe
you. We grew our first crop, 2 summers ago. It was an incredible feeling to smoke it, and then also to press it into some rosin, which is also kind of cool to see that happen.
Yeah,
Now,
you get it fresh. Yeah, you get it fresh. You cure it the way you want to cure it. You can go a little longer. It's your baby. You watched it grow. It's definitely a priceless moment for sure.
so between the first harvest, the first delivery, you guys we get to this Prop 64, this whole legal recreational model, and then we're here now. We've been in the game a year or two. Can you walk us through? You guys just recently acquired a new dispensary, right? So you've been a delivery service for all these years. You
Right.
cultivated, and now you actually have a retail location. So walk us through how that even happened. How does one go from doing this to now all of a sudden we're talking dispensary? I saw a sign going up the other day. Very exciting growth, man. How does that even happen?
Well, being consistent, being relentless, and just to add before we transition to Prop 64, and just to clarify, we're talking about Prop 215 SB 420. The network that went on during those days, you built these genuine, authentic relationships with people within the industry who we now work with on the Prop 64 side, which is kind of California's regulated side. That is also a priceless feeling to know that essentially these people that are cultivating some of California's best cannabis also transition with you. You guys see each other. That feeling is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different feeling. You share this bond that if you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah, like you made it. You all made it. You all made it here together.
Right. Yeah. So the relationships that Tree Factory was able to establish during Prop 215 SB 420 to me is priceless. And then navigating to Prop 64. So there was one city in the two cities in the area, but one city was capped. It was Ojai. We applied, but we were just out of the zone, so we didn't get granted. 3 dispensaries got granted, and then shortly after, Port Hueneme got licensed, opened up their doors for retail, right? So we're still delivering. It's this transitional phase, right, where there's still Prop 215 SB 420 services, cultivation companies were getting, letters to stop operating. Prop 64 is coming in. That was a scary feeling because it's the unknown. You don't know if they're going to kick in your door. You don't know what's going to happen. And then for me, what I felt was, shit, we better transition because we're going to be late to the party or we're going to miss our flight. So it was this not having a safety net, this feeling of unknown, but we were relentless. So we made it happen. What I did was I scouted some of the local dispensaries in Port Hueneme. I seen which ones were new to the industry. Just to clarify on this, the reason we didn't apply for Port Hueneme was A, there was no more real estate left. And then B, they wouldn't have let us operate because we came from the Prop 215 SB 420 era. And we didn't want to change our name. We wanted to stay with Tree Factory, and essentially that was non-negotiable, right? So
it's got to be, when you're building a brand, you got to be able to keep all your strongest assets, and the brand name for Tree Factory, it's undoubtedly a very strong brand name.
Thank you. Yeah, so we started scoping out. We started scoping out dispensaries who would want to partner with us, and then eventually, transition to Tree Factory. We found one that we eventually ended up doing a joint venture. So the deal there was for us to get into the legal market, right? Which is the which is the Prop 64. And give us some cover, but also bring value to them, right? While they give us while they give us cover. So we did the partnership. We finally we fine-tuned the joint venture. So we came on board as their delivery wing, or the delivery department, right?
Like the arm of their beast.
Exactly. So when we came in, they were doing, they were doing decent sales, right? 1 month later, they went up 40%, right? And then a year later, they went up 60%. 22 months later, they went up 100%. So we definitely brought tremendous value, and we did about 33% of all sales, right, on delivery alone. Not to mention the customers who were loyal to us went to that specific store to pick up product from their store. So not only did we do about 33% of all sales via delivery, we also had customers coming in, to pick up product. So we brought, a tremendous amount of value. But for Tree Factory, the goal was still the same, to have our own dispensary. So now that we had experience to show for on paper, it was time for us to, to seek opportunities elsewhere. This specific dispensary, they were applying everywhere. They were seeking opportunities everywhere else. So we decided to, to venture off, because we didn't want to be late to the party, or we didn't want to miss out on an opportunity to grow Tree Factory.
Yeah. That's how you guys, I remember in one of our conversations, that's kind of how a conversation with the owner of the other shop came about. It's after kind of like just a random outreach, right? Or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
Right. So, so the contract was for a year, right? And then it was month to month after that. And we were excelling. We were definitely doing our part of the deal. We were definitely bringing value. But for Tree Factory, we felt boxed in. We felt like we weren't growing. and we weren't going to have an opportunity to grow. So when opportunities started coming to Tree Factory, I had to do what was best for my family, and I had to do what was best for our customers, along with Tree Factory, to seek out opportunities elsewhere as well. So that's when Leaf and Lion came about. So Leaf and Lion came about. They were a struggling dispensary. They were about to be shut down by the city for not being compliant. They were a nuisance to the city. They weren't doing anything for the community. And for us and the other dispensary, the partner dispensary that we were partnered up with, it didn't look like we were going to grow long term, right? So we decided to part ways. When we decided to part ways, we looked into Leaf and Lion, and we had to go through the entire process. We had to wait. We had to get approved by the city. They had to, make sure that we were the right fit, right? They knew who we were. We showcased experience, with what we did to the other dispensary, which is what we brought value, right? So they finally cleared us after 5 months, right? They cleared us. Once we were cleared, we then took it over, right?
Okay.
So essentially that was a task within itself, because usually when you buy a dispensary or a business, it's turnkey, right? This one was a little awkward because we essentially, it was a collapsing dispensary that we had to prep and turnkey and get it ready for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we went in there acting as consultants for Leaf and Lion to turnkey it for the people who were going to acquire it, and the people who were going to acquire it was us. So then we acquired it, and we moved forward. We brought our entire infrastructure over to assist. Month one, when we did do the acquisition, we started operating. We went up 600% in sales as soon as we took it over. We put banners up. Again, it's competition. Competition's gonna do everything they possibly can to to make sure that you stay put. So we started getting phone calls by the city of Port Hueneme. Take your signs down. You're only allowed to have one banner. We started getting emails from the BCC. Hey, you guys aren't DBA Tree Factory yet. You guys need to take all your signs down. So that in itself took an extra month, right? To make happen. But we are constantly getting harassed by these competitors who would call the city, and the city said, "Look, we're not going to do anything, but just get it done." So we got
well,
it
done. At least they're giving that leeway. They could be dicks about it, but at least they're being communicative and giving the opportunity for a little back and forth. And yeah, it is just super unfortunate. I can remember back as in my budtender days in Seattle. Shout out to the Diego Pellicer fam. But we definitely had people reporting our stuff. People trying to somewhat, sabotage the customer experience for us.
Right.
And it's unfortunate. The best will always rise above. And the company, a Tree Factory, they can't stop the wave. A true tsunami is happening with the Tree Factory brand, and I think that's what's very exciting about you guys is you're so ingrained in the community. You're infused with the community. You are a true local in your Ventura County community. Someone who really grew up there. Your whole family a part of the business. That it's just ultimately it can't be stopped.
Right. Yeah.
No matter
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I felt like when that happened, it actually helped us because it pissed a lot of people off. Here's the little guy trying to survive, finally acquires their first dispensary, and you have these competitors who are well funded, well established, not locals, being bullies. So that pissed them off, and they definitely expressed that, on social media, as far as like resharing us. We got so much, love, support, and interaction from the community here locally that, we were it was definitely a pretty sight to see, knowing that you have the backing of your community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So my next question, and Mitch, you can obviously feel free to chime in here. You guys have a new dispensary coming. So Leaf and Lion, a lot of growth. You acquire it first month, second month, hurdles, harassment, lots of new revenue for that failing dispensary, which is very exciting to see that the model is working. And then you guys get awarded a license in Oxnard.
Right.
And not only is it, there's a bunch of new dispensaries opening in Oxnard. You guys are one of the group, right? It's one of the new areas in Ventura County that's coming online.
Right.
But there's something different about your location. And
Right.
so walk us through this new Oxnard flagship dispensary and let the people know some of the cool features that you're excited to bring to the community.
Right. Yeah. So this is a project we've been working on for about 2.5 years. We bought the property 2.5 years ago, before cannabis was even considered. We had a hunch, right? And we knew more or less to stay away from houses, be in a retail zone, stay away from schools. So we were driving and we were looking, we were talking to realtors, we were doing everything we could to find a property. And that one went up for sale. So as soon as it went up for sale, we immediately jumped on it. We went into escrow, we got approved. And what's unique about that dispensary is that it's locally owned, first and foremost. And then it's right off the 101 freeway in Oxnard. It's 23,000 square feet. It's right next to Best Buy. It's in between Rose Avenue and Gonzalez and the 101 freeway. That corridor has a tremendous amount of traffic. You have
physically, the building is between Best Buy and Goodwill. It's sandwiched by Goodwill and Best Buy, correct?
Correct.
And in the same parking lot as a Golden Corral.
Golden Corral.
Man, let's go.
We have 155 parking spots. So parking, don't worry about parking. Yeah, and we definitely have some nice, some recognized neighbors, right? As far as national neighbors, we're the only locals in that entire strip, right? We're next to Coffee Bean, we're next to Starbucks, we're next to Shell gas station, Chevron, Walmart, Subway, Turner's, Vons, Sam's Club, McDonald's, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's.
You're the only local business.
We're the only local business in that entire strip, which is huge. For me, it's huge. It's this undescribable feeling that, coming from where I came from, which is on the opposite side of the city, the older part of the city, to be able to make it there, it's an undescribable feeling. It's this proud moment for me.
And when you look at, cannabis, the legalization of cannabis, right? It's a big part of that's been breaking the stigma and, bringing cannabis to just every day, being considered as a regular thing, whether it's commerce, the use, the discussion of it. And there's still so many hurdles in the industry with breaking that stigma and making it normalized and just more regular for people. So describe the feeling that you see when you look at all these big box stores and businesses that people know, and then you're going to see cannabis in the middle of that. How does that feel to you? And why do you think there's an importance of putting cannabis normalized in the retail scenario?
Right. Yeah, I feel like we're definitely at the forefront of that. I feel like we're pioneers in the retail cannabis space for doing that. We definitely took a risk, right? And we went into the unknown. We definitely fought for it. It wasn't easy. We had to win in Oxnard twice. The first one was practice. So essentially what happened is they told us, hey, you guys won. A couple months later, they sent out a letter saying, you know what, you guys did not win. It did not count. So you guys have to do it all over again, right? And we're locals. You know, we're definitely locally owned, family owned operation. We're not funded by these corporations, so we had to go up against the big boys twice, right? And we ended up winning twice. We're probably the only dispensary that's next to all those businesses that I just mentioned. Also, we're the only dispensary off the freeway. We're the biggest dispensary. We're actually going to be a superstore, 23,000 square feet. And what I'm going to do there, it's very unique. Essentially, it's from my experience. I sat down with the architect. We designed everything. It's something that I had envisioned a while back, something that I seen that was lacking in the industry. For example, you mentioned normalizing education. We have the space. We're going to have our own education center so we can educate the public, educate customers, and really bring people on board to speak to our customers.
And then at 23,000 square feet, is that going to be one of the largest stores in the entire state?
It'll be one of the, yes, it's going to be one of the largest stores. Not the largest, but one of the largest. It is the largest store in Oxnard, Ventura County, and the 805.
That's crazy, man. Well, congratulations on that. That's very exciting. I know for me, having walked through it the other day, obviously you haven't broken ground in terms of the walls and getting it to just be looking how you want it to ultimately come out and come to life. But it's very exciting to see that come to life, and obviously sandwiched there between the three different big name, big box retail establishments, Golden Corral on the restaurant side, as well as Goodwill. I mean, Best Buy. It's gonna be it's very cool.
Yeah.
Especially your guys' team being the young group of entrepreneurs that you guys are, locals. You know, and 100% the type of company that we want to support. It's inspiring to other people. Hopefully, this can inspire other people to do something similar. To start their delivery, to start their little grow, to start hitting, making the right connections and networking in those things. Now, Mitch,
Get out there.
what
Yeah, so
talk,
really quick, I definitely want you guys to invite me back so I can give you guys a clear walkthrough as far as what I have envisioned. I can't really let out any kind of secrets that I have in mind because it's still active, but I definitely want to share with the followers what it's going to look like, the vision behind it, the thought process that went through it, the experience, and how I brought it back and really laid it all out to have a modern, up-to-date dispensary that's going to be a model dispensary for the city of Oxnard.
Mm-hmm.
What I could tell you is that the city of Oxnard is going to call us their model dispensary, and essentially it's going to be the dispensary that they recommend to tourists, that they recommend to locals, and that they also do walkthroughs with other politicians, other lawmakers that are interested in allowing cannabis in their cities, counties, states, etc.
That's awesome too. When you've got the superstore and it's again surrounded by the respected brands and parking, huge, a good clean environment, huge, readily accessible, huge, off the freeway, convenient, huge. I'm very excited to see that come to life. Now I have a couple other questions in terms of the education space, some of the things that are kind of more experiential inside. And a lot of the dispensaries, we're seeing these LED TVs, we're seeing these pop-up kiosks that kind of like allow you to just come buy your weed there and it drops it down just like a little It's like you're buying a Gatorade. You know what I mean? So, do you guys have plans to be integrating technology and any kind of experiential things on top of the education space in the retail environment?
Yes, yes, we definitely plan on being a guide to the customer, simplifying the experience, and trying to educate them before they even walk in and speak to one of our bud tenders. So we are going to have that modern technology that assists. We're going to have content throughout the entire store that makes them arrive at the point at their point. As new people start to get into cannabis, obviously mental health is a big thing. The older people are actually more more interested in trying cannabis. So our goal is to make it as educational and easy as possible, so we can educate them before they even speak with the bud tender. As far as our education center, that one's going to be unique. I haven't seen anything like it. It's going to hold 50 people. We're definitely going to be inviting brands, companies from all categories to come and educate our
Like a little
customers.
conference room, or how?
Yeah, so it's gonna be set up. It's gonna be a nice setup with nice lighting. Think of like a TED Talk, right? A nice podium,
Okay, yeah.
right? Where it's more intimate. I'm gonna have cameras everywhere, so I can go live via social media platforms. Also share the credentials with the brand who's coming in, so they can go live. My goal is to really bring their best, right? Whether it's a founder, whether it's their best educator or some type of executive from that company and category, to educate our community and educate our customers and the people who are most loyal to their brand. And if you can't make it, you could always go live and make it there.
Got to be able to have that whole social ecosystem. Very important, and that's super cool to have you guys be integrating that in the education, the digital, the retail side of it. I'm again super pumped for that.
Yeah, for sure. We're also gonna have a gift shop where we're gonna sell non-cannabis products. Right there, we're definitely gonna do a lot of collabs with locals. We're gonna have a lot of regional culture merchandise, paraphernalia, souvenirs. Um, anything that has to do with the city of Oxnard or the 805 area code. You can definitely expect to feel like if you're in that region as soon as you hit that shop.
It's dope.
And then for our showroom, that one I can't really talk about. We definitely have a lot of trade secrets there. But what I could tell you is that we're gonna have experts for every category. Again, we definitely want to be pioneers, and I've seen what's out there right now. Some people are doing it great. Some people could do it better. But this is our version of great, and this is our chance to take a stab at it.
Yeah,
and we have the space to do it.
I'm excited to see how that comes to life, my man.
For sure. Yeah, thank you. So am I. I can't wait. I've been waiting 2.5 years.
had the vision. So that's being a local and making it in this game of cannabis. We touched on it a little bit earlier of your guys' beginnings, and then Joey was smoking on it. But you guys have the Savior's Road pre-roll that just dropped. So could you give us a little bit of insight on what that is, what that means for the brand, and then a little bit more on just the importance of Savior's Road for that local community and how you guys tie into the history there?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm huge on origins, right? I'm huge on culture. This brand Tree Factory, it's definitely for the people, by the people. It comes from the culture. Savior's Road is where we started, so we decided to take it back to the very beginning of when we started. To really be more authentic, more in tune with our community, and also shine some light on Savior's Road. Some people don't know about Savior's Road, and there's a lot of history. rich history on Saviors Road, cruise nights, celebrations, gatherings, Anderson Pack. It was a corridor for people to go back and forth. Middle of the city of Oxnard, and ironically, the birthplace of Tree Factory.
Mm.
Yeah, so we have a cultivation facility in San Luis Obispo County. It's 20,000 square feet. We're gonna have 300 lights. We're in the process of doing our entire construction. So little by little, we're gonna be rolling out our Tree Factory line, grown by us, and it's definitely it's definitely gonna be a genuine brand that comes from essentially the trenches, that comes from pre-legalization, and that's authentic, true to its core.
Is it going to still be branded as Tree Factory, or do you have plans to launch multiple brands like underneath the Tree Factory line?
Yes. So I have one in mind. So essentially it is going to be branded Tree Factory. But the brand that I have in mind is the Green Mile, right? Why the Green Mile? Yeah, why the Green Mile? Well, we're on the Green Mile in Port Hueneme, but for me, the Green Mile means more than that 1 mile strip. It means, deliveries. Those 300,000 deliveries that we've done, each transaction is a mile, a green mile, right? So it just goes back to that. The culture, I'm looking at that as like a prohibition era, right? Moonshiners, right? So essentially, we've been doing green miles all of our life, me and people alike.
I love it. I love it.
And I wanted to ask too, being up here in the Washington market, we do not have delivery. That's something you guys have, been able to carry over from medical into the recreational market successfully in California. What is the importance of delivery in the cannabis marketplace and to the consumers? What do you feel like is the importance and the gravity around deliveries?
Right. Well, I think first and foremost, you definitely have to have a strong logistics team. You definitely have to have a dedicated staff for that department. That department, it's more difficult to run a delivery than it is a dispensary. So you got to make sure that your logistics team's on point all the time. And the importance of it for the consumer is convenience, right? Convenience. COVID hit. We were there for them. They did not want to leave their house. We went up in sales. We worked through it. We made sure that we delivered on time. We made sure that we delivered accordingly. But it really comes down to convenience for the customer. Convenience and simplicity. If you can get those two things going, along with having a strong logistics team, you can definitely provide that 5-star customer service to your customers.
Do you feel like, just from like a business perspective, do you feel like most of the consumers that order delivery also come into the dispensary, or do you feel like they really teeter towards like almost delivery only?
Well, I think it's both, but there is a strong customer base that knows what they want. They're fans of certain brands. They don't want to leave their house. They want to be they want to stay at home or be at their workplace, and they prefer delivery. It also comes down to trust, right? Once you build up enough trust with them, they're probably just going to do delivery. The only reason they're going to go into the store is if they want to try something new out and they want to see it in person.
Interesting.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, pre-legalization, and even pre-medical, the delivery was, usually
Right.
the
Yeah, and I
route.
think the consumer's still exploring. I think the consumer still wants to look. That's why 66% of transactions are at the dispensary. 33% of transactions are from delivery. But I think as the industry matures more and the customer, gets accustomed to a certain brand, and the technologies out there that wouldn't necessarily do business with cannabis industries start to come on board and start to simplify it for the operators, I think you're going to start to see it be more convenient for the consumer, and that consumer is going to grow.
Agreed. I mean, there's just got to be overall an improved dispensary experience. I'm seeing here, you guys YouTube comments coming in. The experience overall is a lot of low. I go to a lot of dispensaries. The education, the bud tender turnover. There's so many different variables coming into play. But when you have a highly educated team, when they're dedicated, it's a concentrated, focused effort. They become better over time. Thankfully, your team has been able to transition over the years and maintain that experience. Obviously, you have people come and go, but for the most part, it's a very much a strong, tightly knit team.
Yeah, our turnover rate is very low. If somebody leaves our company, it's because I mean, essentially, they're going to start their career, and we 100% support them. For us, I still work with the same people that we started with, and I've actually recruited, more people with talent, to assist. Right. I feel like Tree Factory definitely is something that grew beyond me. And I had to recruit the right help for the right department so we can continue to grow it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think ultimately, for us, we're all on the same page. We want to make sure that Tree Factory grows beyond all of us, and we want to see this. We want to take it as far as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
And so I want to talk about something. You were talking about brands earlier, and consumers and their preference. Some consumers have preference for brands. Some consumers are still exploring brands and just learning the marketplace. What do you feel is the importance and the value of brands on cannabis products in the legal market?
For sure, consistency, honesty, and price point. There's different categories, different different categories of cannabis, and it just comes down to trust, consistency, and that price point, right? What's the consumer looking for, and do they trust that brand? If that brand can be trustworthy to that consumer, then that brand has a customer for life.
100%. We've seen, I'm not going to mention any names on the brand, but we've seen people get in trouble for their labeling. There's a couple lawsuits gone out there. Vapegate was pretty eye-opening. These cannabis companies, man, they've got to be able to handle the reality that doing business a certain way has its ramifications. It can be quick and slow, or it can be slow to hit from one way or the other. When you have Instagram and fans and people posting and all this digital coverage, it's pretty easy to make a case about certain things. We actively see all the raids. Shout out to the blacklist. We actively see so much content on the news. So I just feel like it's really just a potential massive fire at any moment to just do things that are high risk.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think that the cannabis industry is one of those industries where if you cut corners, it's going to show.
Yeah. Quick and easy.
Right.
Smoking some weed over here that's 75 and eighth, 80, 90 and eighth. Smells like hay. Not even gonna lie.
Right. Yeah, that's cutting corners, and it shows. So yeah, I think to go back to that question, I think it's consistency, consistency and trust. If you can accomplish those two things as a cannabis company, you have a chance.
And something that you value, or that you benefit from, right, is understanding this market predating what it looks at now, right? Because that's something that's always been a leading factor of whether someone's in the on the commerce, on the purchasing or the selling commerce side of it, even pre-medical again, was consistency, price point, and trust factor, right? If I trust my guy, if he's always got something, might be a little bit under one time, it might be really hitting one time, but it's consistently within a range that I enjoy, and I can get it for the same price any day of the week. I'm not ever going to call another weed man. I'll wait an hour for the weed man, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours for the weed man if it's hitting those things.
Right. It's a routine. And that routine, if you're consistent, you'll be a part of that consumer's routine.
Right. And so that's a big value for you guys, having that, again, the history around this, as opposed to, a green rusher that's just jumping into this, applying other consumer good packages to this, or other consumer good markets to this, when there's certain examples. The illicit market, or what, gray market, has shown us what the consumer wants.
Right. Yeah, and we have a strong purchasing team. We definitely have a checklist on things to go over. So we don't just accept anybody. We make sure that we inspect it. We make sure that it, if it's some type of like value cannabis, we make sure that the price point's on point. It's a bang for your buck. And ultimately, we make sure that it's something that we would consume before we even bring it into our store. So if it's garbage, if it's altered test results, you're not going to get into our doors.
I think that's super important, is, helping customers really understand the need for testing, the need for transparency, helping people understand that this traditional market, although it's okay that there's always going to be this market, it's always going to be around. We understand this, but we want customers to understand that there is this trust factor that exists in this legal industry that technically and scientifically doesn't actually exist in the other one, right? And it's to that impact that, as a medical patient, as someone who uses it for IBS, Crohn's, kidney stones, strong nausea, things like that, I need to know that the stuff that I'm taking is absolutely clean and safe every time.
Right.
And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. For my mom with the same condition, there's just no qualms to that as well. And so, we all started off buying weed in the grocery bag, or grocery bags if they didn't have a sandwich bag, like whatever they could get it in, right? And I think it's cool to learn a little bit about your story, and kind of see and hear the whole history path, minus significant details that we don't need to dive into too much without incriminating anybody. And it's just really been a cool time to have you on the show so far, my man. Mitch, do you have any other questions for my man?
Yeah, I definitely, David, wanted to just get into a little bit about, your guys' efforts of giving back to the community, the local community. Something that has came up in other conversations with you, and obviously on this conversation a lot, is the word local. You are a local-owned business, local-owned and operated. The community, the culture. You guys have made that an important aspect of building this business, of being local, working with locals, hiring locals. What is also kind of the driving force of giving back to the local community, and what are some unique and ways that have been really rewarding to you in doing so?
Right. Yeah. So to date, we definitely donated a significant amount to small nonprofits, local nonprofits. Try to stay clear of the the bigger nonprofits. I like to just like the cannabis that comes into our store, I like to make sure I hand select the people I work with. I like to know that they're authentic. And I like to actually get my hands dirty myself. So you'll see me out there picking up trash. You'll see me out there doing the beach cleanups. You'll see me out there at the little leagues. You'll see me out there. As a matter of fact, this Friday I'll be feeding the homeless with my group. We're gonna hit Oxnard. We're gonna donate, some goodies, non-cannabis. It'll be essentials and food. And for me, it's to be able to give back to a community that raised me, brought me up, and really embraced me. It's a priceless feeling. You know, for example, when I was a youth, I was an adolescent youth. You know, I grew up in a tough neighborhood, South Oxnard, Port Hueneme. My dad signed me up for Little League, and the coaches mentored me. They kept me out of trouble, and they made sure that I stayed on a straight path in a rough neighborhood. So recently, I reached out to them, and I talked to them about it, and they were excited to have a cannabis company on board. Although there's no branding of a cannabis company, to be able to be the biggest donor for that Little League, to me, it was a priceless feeling. It definitely, you know, took me down memory lane, and it definitely made me appreciate the community.
That's awesome, man. I grew up playing Little League. I remember seeing all the sponsors. That. Now, obviously, you can't. We're not marketing the Little League here, but I can just still appreciate the donor, the donor and the donations aspect of it. That's just huge.
So gave you your hat and your jersey, man.
Yeah, I still hold the home run record there for the major division.
Oh
I hit
shit.
19 home runs in one season.
No cap. That's hilarious.
He's out
Yeah,
here.
so that one was definitely huge for me. It definitely hit home, and it definitely made me grateful. You know, to be able to do something like that for you know, that Little League.
And that's great to, like, you know, again, something that's came out, you know, of your mouth a lot is authenticity. And I think something like that isn't, you're not doing that for marketing purposes. It's not a marketing spend. It's truly connecting with the community, and taking that mindset and approach is going to pay off in the long way. And a lot of other, you know, a lot of corporate people try to buy their ways, buy social currency, local currency in certain areas, and you can't really replace authentically just plugging in, whether it's networking, donating money, working behind the scenes. That's truly priceless.
Right. Yeah, and it definitely it's how I want to write my story,
Mm.
right? When it's said and done, it comes down to authenticity. We didn't cut any corners. We took the stairs. We stayed clear of the elevator. We definitely, you know, went through the obstacles. You know, we definitely went through hell, and you know, we were able to make something out of it, which was an authentic company that's for the community.
It's huge. Big shout out to the Tree Factory fam, man. It's taking a whole team, the Tree Factory Army, if you would, man.
It took a whole village for sure.
That's fucking awesome. The come up, the whole come up story.
Yeah.
I know, you know, just looking at my notes, right? You went from a garage and 4 lights to now coming into 2 stores, one of them being 23,000 square feet and a 300 light grow, man. That's got to be a surreal feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
That shit's
Definitely.
crazy.
Consistency. I think consistency, and then you know, trust. The people I work with, the people who join Tree Factory, the other executives, they seen the same vision I seen. And it's the vision of creating something that benefits our community that's bigger than all of us.
Mm.
Huge.
You guys are living by that. You're not just preaching it, man. You're living by it.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, I mean, I think we got a little complete narrative here, man.
All right. Yeah. There's more stories where that came from.
Well, we got more to uncover later on the North American Weed Tour, everybody. We very much appreciate everybody for following along, for tapping in. We've had David Garcia here from Tree Factory, co-founder, a family-run business, Ventura County. We got dispensaries in, well, gosh, Port Hueneme, Oxnard. You got delivery coming in slow up. There's a
Yeah.
lot of awesome growth and opportunity going down in the Ventura County, Cannabis, Slow County, all these different Santa Barbara, the whole Central Coast. This is where Glass House Farms is up in this coastal area. Big shout out to them. They got their whole like crazy canopy and greenhouse situation. There's just so much weed being growing out there, and you guys are selling all the weed. This is exciting, man. California cannabis is booming.
Yeah, definitely, and we're excited to be a part of it.
We appreciate having you on the show, man. It was very fun. Everybody that's watching, make sure you guys tap in, go follow, search for Tree Factory on Instagram, and then make sure you guys Google Tree Factory Dispensary or Tree Factory Delivery. I've done it. Tree Factory shows up. So go tap in, learn more there. Go tap in with David Garcia on LinkedIn. I just checked it out there. I'm gonna get you going on there too, get you active. And man, this is episode 3, the North American Weed Tour. We got more coming, everybody. We're gonna have David back again. I believe probably in October-ish, November-ish. I've got to look at the dates. Got a lot of really cool cannabis brands coming in and being featured on a future episode. So, David, thank you again, and congratulations to your whole team.
Appreciate you. Thank you. You guys
Thank
have
you
a good
very
one.
much.
All right.
You as well, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, man. So North American Weed Tour podcast episode 3. That was David Garcia from Tree Factory. A lot of takeaways. Obviously, the story for him and the Tree Factory brand, they have a real authentic story of just some local hustlers that came up. The traditional story that we hear from a lot of people that have been around this industry that came from the medical market and had one hell of a time breaking into the recreational market, being a smaller local run business with self-funded as opposed to corporate or venture capital backed money. Money talks and makes things a lot easier. So you gotta love when you hear a story, not only a smaller local business thrive, but a business that's been in this industry and comes from the culture to step over to the rec side and not just float around and exist in the rec, but start making corporate size moves.
It's impressive. Get a dispensary partner, do your thing with them, grow together, separate, get into another dispensary, kill it at that, immediately get into access to another dispensary, put it on the ground, start building it out, and then also get a 300 lighter going. There is a lot of opportunity, everybody. This is the North American Weed Tour. We wanted to give you guys behind the scenes views, up to date perspectives, what it takes. You heard it here. Authenticity, hand picking the relationships of the people he works with, hand picking the relationships. We're talking about a co-founder who literally works with his family on this project on a daily basis. It's this kind of level of detail, it's this kind of attention, this kind of passion is who we wanted to connect with in the North American Weed Tour. I hope that you guys take notes. I hope that you guys heard about the persistence and the consistency. There were so many keywords for you guys to just really focus in on, circle them, underline them, focus the fuck in on them. You have to do it, because if you want to own your dispensaries, if you want to own a delivery service, this is what it takes. You got to start growing. You got to start slanging stuff. You got to start getting licenses. You got to start asking people for some money if that's what the route you want to go, or you got to do it yourself and work together with some family members or something. But one way or the other, you got to get organized. And hopefully this is going to inspire you, a lot of fire under your guys' butt. Man, I'm inspired. David is 32, I think, turning 33, right?
Yeah, he's
it's the North American Weed Tour, man. If this isn't light a fire under your guys' asses, I don't know what's going to do it. He's not even 40, owning dispensaries, delivery services. Let's go.
Yeah,
come on.
And that's Joey hit the nail on the head. The North American Weed Tour is looking at legalized cannabis, not recreational medical cannabis across the Northwest, or not the Northwest, sorry, across North America, telling the stories, looking at brands, looking to everything from craft to commercial. And again, David and team are going from very much craft on their way to a commercialized size from the ground up. So that's kind of they're a great look of kind of telling both stories of the transition from one side.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
Hey, man. So that's awesome. Tree Factory, love the branding, love the name, love this, love the narrative and the story. I don't know how anyone could hear that and not be a fan of that. Yeah, blessing to have them on here. And we're going to be back with more content throughout the week. This podcast will be going on multiple times a week.
We got podcasts coming every Wednesday, Sunday. We're adding in Mondays and the occasional Fridays. Not every Monday, not every Friday, but we're going to add them in depending on availability. We got to be flexible because we got 80 of them coming for the North American Weed Tour. We're episode 3. We got 77 more coming. I hope you guys are ready. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next episode, man. J Pink checking in.